Hello, hello. Welcome to the Catholic Every Woman, where we are dogmatic about dogma. Everything else is open for discussion.
I'm Jane Spencer.
I'm Anna Sutton.
And today we're talking about all sorts of things, including female archetypes, personality psychology, and biblical characters.
Yes, okay, so Jane is an actual expert in this, and I am an enthusiast.
Everybody loves personality psychology, so if you're here, prepare to be delighted. And also, I think this topic is huge. There's not enough, one episode is not enough to talk about personality psychology. There are so many theories. There are so many psychologists who have designed personality tests.
It's almost like you could make an entire show that includes every woman.
Exactly, I agree. And how does that relate to Catholicism,
Oh, well, one of the things I love is reading the saints, because there are saints that you suddenly resonate with. Like, people say the saint chooses you.
Yes.
And I feel like that happens when you're, like, if I were in heaven, I like to think that if our bodies are resurrected, then what will come through as a saint is, like, kind of true to the personality you had on earth.
Totally.
Does that make sense?
Totally.
So, like, they're still an individual. They're just the perfected version of themselves.
Yeah, well, I remember learning in the catechism that, yes, every person is unique. And nobody will dispute that. But that every soul is unique such that there is no other soul exactly like your soul. And so in heaven, that uniqueness is going to come through and be perfected.
Exactly. So, okay, so again, going back to if I were in heaven, I feel like I could look down on earth and see, like, a little hardworking Christian who's, like, really aggressive and maybe a little snarky, and I'd be like, I got you. Like, and then that's how I feel when I start praying to a saint, and I feel like I have a real connection with them. It's that they're like, I get you, I see you.
Yeah, and as Catholics, we believe in the communion of saints, if we have a saint we love, do they choose us? Maybe. But, reaching down from heaven and just saying, I love you, I love your little spirit, and I want to help you.
Like, I get it. I see the world the way you see it,
Yeah, exactly. And of course, God knows us perfectly. And so he does understand our human experience more than anybody else.
Yeah. But the other thing that I think really relates to the Catholic life with this is, if you can read the Bible and see yourself in a Bible character, you realize that God can use your type of person in astounding ways. So, like, this happened for me when I read the book of Judith. So Judith isn't in the Protestant Bible, so I never read it growing up.
Wait, stop.
You didn't notice?
Judith is not in the Protestant Bible.
It's a robbery.
I'm shocked.
Neither is Susanna, like Tobin.
Yeah, I love Susanna. I knew a religious who took that name, Sister Mary Susanna.
Well, and Ruth is like a shred of what it actually is in the Catholic. Actually, okay, here's something crazy you won't believe. In the Protestant version of Ruth, God is never mentioned. Like, all of her prayers are cut out. Everything is cut out. It's a totally different book.
If you are Protestant right now, I need you to look up these books of the Bible and read them. Be brave and read the story of Judith. Read the story of Ruth.
Even if you just read them as interesting Jewish history. You don't even have to think of his Bible. Just read them. They're great.
Yeah. I mean, as Catholics, when I was in high school, we read Judith, Ruth, Esther. We read these books of the Old Testament insofar as they were prefigures of Our Lady. Finally coming up to the Mother of God and how they prefigured her in the way that she, for example, Esther stood up for the Jewish people, or Judith, being so brave and so beautiful. And killing Holofernes for her people.
Yeah, Judith is the best. So anyway, when I read Judith, I had this moment where I felt like she's such this distinct personality type. Like, the whole nation of Israel is under siege, and she's like, you know what? I got this. I'm just going to go take care of the whole problem.
She did. She marched into the lion's den.
Seduced him.
Well, I love how she dressed up before she went. In the Bible, it's described how she put on jewelry, and she wore, you know,
she totally used her feminine wiles, like 1,000%. She's like,
She did.
I am going to make this man fall in love with me so I can chop his head off.
She did, you know, and as much as I love Judith, and I love her bravery and her audacity just to kill him, it seems like she didn't do a whole lot of reflection before that. She just went in right to the heart of the enemy, essentially let him get himself drunk, and then chopped his head off.
Which is exactly what I would do. That's why I was like, God could use my personality too. Like, I would do zero critical thinking about it. I would just be like, I have this great idea. It's gonna work. Pack your bags, maid. We're going to Halifax.
You know, and I think that impetuosity and that strength is so cool.
Well, there are strengths and weaknesses. I mean, there are definitely times it really doesn't pan out.
There are. I mean, virtus in media stat, right? The virtue lies in the middle of imbalance. So maybe with Judith, it was the balance between cowardice and utter temerity, right? Yeah. The middle of those two extremes is bravery, and she was brave.
She was brave. Yeah.
Which I think is a virtue we typically ascribe to men.
Well, okay, another brave, Joan of Arc. Who could be more brave than Joan of Arc?
Oh, my goodness. I couldn't do it.
Oh, no.
I would not want to ride into battle.
She was like 14, 15. I mean, she was
very young.
Actually, today is the feast of Joan of Arc. I saw it today.
Saint Joan of Arc.
Pray for us. Okay, so going back to, though, I think the thing that is really important with kind of understanding your personality and accepting your personality and then finding that in the saints and in Scripture is it makes you realize, like, God made me this way, and he's going to use me this way. Like,
absolutely.
He is the potter, I am the clay. He made me the vessel he wants me to be, and he's going to use me in the way he wants to use me.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you brought that up, because your personality is not something that you should want to diminish out of, like, a false sense of humility. Your personality is something to be developed, like the talents, the parable of the talents in the Bible. If you are extroverted, use that talent to become a saint, to evangelize Catholicism in the world.
Friends.
To host your friends and throw wonderful dinner parties like Anna did last week for the Feast of Pentecost.
I wasn't searching for that. I do think more people need to host. That's
it was wonderful, you know, but you know, if you're maybe a bit more neurotic, right? You're a little worried about what people might think of you, or you're more introverted, you can still use that. You can use that to think and write and pray. Whatever your personality is, by all means, don't diminish it. That's a false humility.
Okay, so this is what we were talking about before we hit record today. Talking about personality types. Jane is actually a professional in this. She actually has training. My opinion that she disagreed with was that you have, like I said, okay, I felt like I had a personality when I was younger. I was an ENFP in the Myers-Briggs. And then as I've gotten older, it's really like shifted. And like, I feel like my whole personality has changed. And my husband once said, like, he was watching me like frantically clean or boss people around or something. And he's like, God, I thought I married a free spirit. And I was like, you did marry a free spirit. And then like the world beat me down and made me this. And so, but you said that you feel like, okay, well, you should talk about it. Are people born with a personality that's unchangeable, or does your personality shift?
Okay, yeah. So, well, first of all, I'd ask you a quick follow-up question. If you started out as an ENFP, what are you now?
ENTJ.
ENTJ.
She actually told me
the boss.
Yes, I'm very bossy.
ENTJs are so cool. I have many friends who are ENTJs, but they don't get along with one another because they're like beta fish. They're so beautiful and so strong, and they can swim about.
There can only be one boss.
There can only be one ENTJ in a room. No, I've seen this multiple times, where at a brunch, if there's two NTJs, they just don't like each other. They are quality, powerful people, but they don't get along.
Which is a shame, because ENFPs, like, always love other ENFPs. So I feel it's sad that, like, I lost my, like, buddy personality. Because when I thought and I don't know, I think maybe, okay, so going to the, what is it? Sanguine, choleric.
The temperaments.
The temperaments, which Jane does not think are legit.
Boo.
Boo. Like a sanguine person always loves other sanguines. Like, the more sanguine, the better, you know?
The temperaments pigeonhole people.
Really?
The temperaments are based on the four humors. which is a medieval concept and impossible to measure, okay? If you're sanguine, you can't go to the doctor and be like, do I have too much blood? You know, oh, do I have too much phlegm, too much bile in my liver, in my whatever, gallbladder?
Like, you need leeches.
Yeah, no. The temperaments, to me, for some reason, I perceive Catholics to be all about it.
Oh, yeah. I never even heard of it till I became Catholic. I think, was it Aristotle who talked about the temperaments?
Probably. I'm not sure. Aristotle makes sense because, you know, Catholics love St. Thomas Aquinas to reason their way through life. And he often quotes Aristotle as his argument to authority. Mm-hmm. But the temperaments, they pigeonhole people into 4 categories. We are so much more complex than 4 different categories. And how often have you heard a person say, well, I'm melancholic, but I'm not depressed. I'm sanguine, but I can keep a job.
So I think of the temperaments as how you process information. So, like, okay. What I've learned is that, like, a choleric takes in information quickly and holds on to it well. A sanguine takes in information quickly but lets go of it quickly. A melancholic takes a really long time to take in information but holds on to it really well. And then a phlegmatic takes a really long time to take in information and lets go of it quickly.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I think that's a very common understanding of the 4 temperaments. But I would say a better and maybe more modern interpretation of the temperaments really comes from Jungian psychology. Mm-hmm. Jung...
Which is J-U-N-G?
J-U-N-G, yeah. Pronounced Jung, not young, please.
I've said it young until this exact moment.
Jung. Okay? So he defined what is introversion versus extroversion. Okay? So introversion versus extroversion is the way that people get their energy. You know, you mentioned energy with the 4 temperaments.
So, like, I get energy from being with people.
Right. So that would mean that you are more extroverted, right? So Jung would say if you get your energy from being around people, you know, you're in a social environment and that really energizes you. It jazzes you up. It brings about joy. Okay? That would mean that you're more extroverted. An introvert, however, gains their energy from being alone or in solitude. So they might enjoy being with people, but the way they recharge and gain their energy is from being alone, being in solitude. Okay? So I love that definition of introversion versus extroversion because it's not about who is more talkative. I think that's just the worst error about personality psychology as in terms of introversion, extroversion. Oh, if you're the loudmouth, if you're more talkative, that means you're more extroverted. Absolutely not. I'm an introvert. Look how much I'm talking right now.
Well, it's interesting. Like, I hadn't realized how true this was until in my recent years. So I love going to giant concerts. And I started doing it. I didn't go to like a huge concert until I had small children. And what I love about it is when I'm in like an arena of people, I feel like I can totally let loose in a way like I don't feel like a parent at all. Like, it's something that when you have small children, it's really hard to like unclip from being worried about your small children. And the very first time, so I had my son Athen, and the very first time I ever felt like I was able to like totally step out of that like high stress parent role was I went to see Taylor Swift. It was her Reputation tour, and my friend was like, "Hey, come with me." And it was this like almost like it was like a high that I experienced. And it was Taylor Swift's performances are just like next level. Like, we'll do an episode on Taylor Swift. I'm obsessed with her.
Hold up.
This was Reputation. So this was like a lot of albums ago.
What year was that?
Let's see. I guess I had Clement. I don't know when Reputation came out. A while back. It was in Kansas City, though.
Sorry. So the Eras tour was like 2024. Right?
Oh, yeah. That was a long time before Reputation.
When was the Reputation? But years before that?
2019-ish?
2019. And how old were you and how many kids did you have?
Okay, so I must have had Clement was born in 2019. It must have been like maybe 2018 because I had Athen and Noel. So I had 2 kids.
Okay.
And then and then after Clement was born, that same friend and I, we went to see Jonas Brothers. So this became like a thing for me because I realized this is how I truly release. Like I'd not found a thing that made me release.
You let go.
I let go. It was wild. It was unlike anything I had experienced up until that point. So like our life up until that point had been so high stress. Like Andy was in medical training and I had these children. I was essentially a single parent.
Yeah.
I can never diss single parents. I actually think what they do is so hard. But truly, his work schedule was so intense. I did
Absolutely.
everything.
You were supporting someone achieving medical school doctor goals, specialist goals.
Yeah. And so after I went to that tour and I had this like almost like unbelievable experience, I started planning. I look for like any giant musical event. And it's something about the combination of music and like a big crowd. And it can really be it can be music I don't like. Like I went to see like a country artist. I don't even like country music, but I didn't care. It's like, it's the music, it's the people, I'm there, it's a live experience. And I could just like release.
So the environment supported you being able to actually relax.
Yeah, it's a really weird thing. And so that's when I realized.
Weird. I think that's kind of judgmental on yourself.
Oh, sorry.
I think that's lovely that you found a place where you could actually relax.
Yeah, I just need like, I think it was Joe Heschmeyer, he was like, you just need like 6,000 of your closest friends. That's how I feel. It's like I just need a whole bunch of people who feel the same way I feel in that moment. But it made me realize, wow, not only do I like totally recharge and like totally relax in this environment, but then when I come home from them, like even if a concert goes till, you're there till like 11, I'm awake, like I cannot fall asleep. It's so much energy, I'll just lay in bed like.
Yeah, you're thinking about it. You're so energized from that experience. I think that's wonderful. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Finding something that really just brightens you. Even when you're talking about it, you're so bright. You're
it's so fun. I'm
excited.
To it.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
But that's when I realized this is what it means to be an extrovert. Like what I love most, what I find the most energy from is like literally the most amount of people and the most amount of noise and the biggest space I can possibly find.
Yeah, so as a Catholic who is, in love with the 4 temperaments for whatever reason, they would put you in a sanguine or choleric category.
Well, I'm choleric strongly, followed by sanguine. I am strong. I've always resonated with the choleric. Like, I think since I'm a black and white person, being pigeonholed doesn't bother me because I'm like, yes, absolutely. I am 100% that,
As a psychologist... As a psychologist who has a lot of autistic clients, girl, you are not black and white. You are not that rigid.
Oh, that's good to know.
And,
I'm not autistic?
No. And there's nothing wrong with autistic people. They're some of my favorite
they're kind of
clients.
Geniuses, actually.
I love autistic people. They're absolutely wonderful. I love just getting on that level with their specific interest and, maybe they don't look at me the entire session, but we are vibing. It's great. Yeah. No, that's so cool. And I love learning that about you, that you can just get lost in a grand performance. And also, it's art. So you must love art and
love art,
artistic expression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because growing up, my sisters are both really, really talented musicians. I am not.
What?
I did not get that gene.
I didn't know this. Are they like vocalists or more
No, my
instrumental?
sister, her name is Melody. She's a clarinetist. I know. It was
Melody.
And then my sister Naomi is also like very talented. She played violin. They played in symphonies and orchestras, and so I'd always go to these music performances, these like classical.
How wonderful.
And I really always totally enjoyed them. And as I've gotten older, I told my husband actually recently, I'm like, I would love to go to like the symphony more. Like I think I would feel the same, maybe not the same amount of pleasure as going to Taylor Swift, because nobody matches Taylor Swift. But I do miss like the emotion that's brought up in like true classical music.
Sitting here, I think I'm introverted. I need to study this more because know thyself, right? As we try to become saints, it's useful for us to study, okay, how do I react to things, what do I like, and then how do I bring balance to that, right? But I think I'm introverted. As an introvert, you should come with me. Connor and I attend the opera. In June, the Sunflower Music Festival is happening in Topeka, which is a whole week of free classical concerts.
Oh, cool.
And so I think in contrast to you with Taylor Swift or with the Jonas Brothers, I love attending a classical concert and thinking about it.
Just mulling it over.
Yeah, and reading about the composer or what the composer intended when he wrote this. Was there a piece of art that he was looking at that he then composed an incredible piece? Was there a prayer, or was there a thought or a feeling he had that then erupted into this musical piece? And there's a lot of silence in a classical music concert. We don't clap between the movements. We're not cheering during the concert itself. But I think as an introvert, it feels so satisfying for me to listen and to allow myself to give myself the permission to feel what's going on.
Yeah,
and then go home and talk about it.
Woo!
Sorry. No,
this will be great. You and Andy can do that. Connor and I will do something else. But she's very Connor. He's very extroverted.
Well, he's an ENFP, which interestingly you said that's what you thought you were.
Okay, so this is where we started. Was can a personality change? Here's where I feel I've changed. The ENFP is a person who's very free. They're kind of loved by everyone. They relate to everyone. They're
very creative, very agreeable.
Yeah, I think they're actually the easiest personality type to like.
Interesting.
Which is maybe why I wanted to be that, because I'm I can win this likability contest.
In order to like an ENFP, you have to have a lot of cognitive flexibility. You have to be able to follow them with their ideas. ENFPs have a lot of ideas, a lot of big ideas, and they can be wildly successful. And there's an element of risk with an ENFP personality where they're willing to take risks that might seem to a more stable type as
insane.
As insane.
This is idiotic.
So if you love an ENFP, if you're married to or BFFs with an ENFP, you have to kind of agree to be along for the ride.
Well, this is why, actually, Connor is so perfect for you, because you're I think I'm going to start a YouTube channel. And he's like, that's a great idea. You should do that.
Oh, my gosh.
He's Connor, your biggest cheerleader.
He's ridiculous. No matter what I do, I'm going to do art. I'm going to write. I'm going to make a podcast. I'm going to go to grad school. He's so open. He's so high in openness. So openness is one of the big 5 personality traits, which is the most reliable and valid.
Okay, the big 5, which are agreeableness?
It's the acronym OCEAN. So openness to experience, conscientiousness, which is divided into industriousness and organization, I believe. Extroversion. So it's not like Jung, where he made the distinction between extroversion and introversion. It's just, how extroverted are you? Are you high?
So it's a scale of extroversion.
Right. Are you high in extroversion or low in extroversion?
That actually makes more sense to me.
Oh, interesting. Okay. And then agreeableness, which I talk a lot about agreeableness. So when I say people are agreeable versus disagreeable, how willing are they to be comfortable in conflict? How willing are they to disagree with you or to be abrasive? Okay, so someone who's willing to be abrasive, willing to have an argument, comfortable with not just being a people pleaser, that's what I would call disagreeable. It's not a bad thing at all.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I think, for example, you are more disagreeable than I am.
That's true, but I think that is a negative thing.
No, it's not. It's not. It's just...
I love conflict.
And that's great, and that's interesting. But unfortunately, in the English language, when we've talked about being disagreeable, that's has a negative connotation, but from a personality psychology perspective, it's not. It's not at all. And believe it or not, I am pretty darn disagreeable.
Really?
Yeah, as women, females versus males. Females are typically more agreeable than males. But I think, Anna, you and I are more disagreeable than most women.
Okay, well, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I actually, this was interesting because, again, right before we hit record, you made the comment that you had more male friends growing up.
Well, I had 5 brothers growing up.
So you related to boys.
I wouldn't have it any other way. I mean, and even when I went to kindergarten, I remember this girl saying, "Do you want to be friends?" I said, "Yes." "Do you want to play together?" "Yes." And then she said, "Let's play house." And I said, "What's that?" I didn't know what house was, and so I went over to this little, like, plastic house, and there was a kitchen, and you could, like, go in the doors and stuff, and she's like, "I'm the mommy, you're the daddy, you're the sister, da-da-da-da-da, and I'm gonna say this, and then you say this." And I was so bored. I was like, I can't believe, okay, this game of house is something I've never played before. I would much rather build car tracks with blocks with the boys.
That's hilarious. That's makes me, my daughter, she came home one day and she was really sad, and I was like, "What happened?" She was like, "Nobody wants to play with me at school, and nobody wants to play with me on the playground." And I'm like, "Well, what are they playing? What are you playing?" She goes, "Nobody else wants to play Wicked Witch." I'm like, well, that sounds like kind of a weird game. And it was funny because literally her favorite game is like, it's always, my parents die, because all good children's books are about orphans. She loves the Boxcar Children, which
Disney did this.
Oh, well, every good children's book is about an orphan. Like, The Secret Garden, The Little Princess, The Boxcar Children, and Mandy.
And the bad people are always old with crooked teeth.
Yeah. Anyway, so she instantly kills us off in any game, and then there's always a Wicked Witch, like Hansel and Gretel. And, okay, so anyway, so she finally found one girl who was a similar personality, who, interestingly, her mom is also, like, a very disagreeable personality. When I became friends with her mom, I was like, oh, yeah. Of
course you became friends with her, because you're disagreeable, too.
We're both disagreeable. The problem is when you have other disagreements with disagreeable people, they can be really intense.
But they don't ruin the friendship. That's the difference.
That's true, because you both kind of embrace it. You're like, come at me.
Exactly. When you're friends with disagreeable people, or you have disagreements with difficult people, it doesn't ruin the friendship. We're able to hold a difference of opinion without understanding that, fundamentally we can't be friends.
That's a great point, because some of my, like, through COVID, which was, wow, if you could maintain friendships in COVID, there were a couple friends that I had wildly different opinions from, and I was, like, really proud that we actually did maintain those friendships through all the drama of 2020 and 2021. And we're still friends.
Uh-huh.
But there were other people where it was, like, not even there are other people where there are conversations I won't even have with them because I know it'll destroy the friendship.
That's good of you to recognize that maybe they or you or the friendship is not strong enough to have certain conversations.
Exactly.
You know,
I'm strong enough.
I believe you. No, and I think something that is maybe imbalanced with me is that I think sometimes I'm too good of a listener. And this probably comes from being a therapist.
It's literally your job.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely do talk and I challenge people, but I don't think I challenge people enough. And I think that I listen so much, and I am able to validate where people are coming from so much that my friends are so wildly different from one another. I have friends in the crunchy space. I have friends in the radically allopathic medicine space. I have friends that are liberal, friends that are conservative, and I think I'm able to see really where they're coming from and appreciate the good that is in them. But I think maybe a higher level of disagreeableness would actually help me hone in closer friendships with people.
Oh, interesting. What kind of friends is your ideal? Mom. Marigold, bless Daddy. Sorry. This happens every episode, Marigold.
Marigold, baby. She's so cute.
She is cute. But Dad is here. This is one of my complaints about being a wife and mother. They always come to Mom. It doesn't matter if you say Dad's in church now. It's always Mom.
No, but it's cool that you say, that you redirect.
Yeah.
No, my ideal friend I think my ideal friend is someone that I could really tell the truth to.
I mean, well, you married Connor, so I assume it's an ENFP.
It is. In fact, no. So for those who love MBTI, Myers-Briggs Type Indicator Personality Psychology, which is not the most reliable or valid, however, the most clear.
It's easiest.
The most clear personality psychology indicator because it breaks everyone into 16 categories, and then it's able to analyze those categories very clearly. I admit it is not the most scientifically robust. The most scientifically robust is the Big Five, followed by the Enneagram.
Isn't the Enneagram like demonic?
What?
Have you never heard this? I thought it was
Gosh,
based on
the Protestant realm speaks again.
I don't. I don't even think this is Protestant. I thought it was I thought it was originally based in satanic ritual or something.
Really?
We will have to look this up. This is
boy.
a vague idea in the back of my head.
Well, the horoscopes are definitely, anything astrology is absolute hogwash, period.
Is it? Okay, so I don't know. Here's the thing. Okay, I'm not into astrology, but what is the role of the stars in our life?
Okay, so the way I learned about this in Catholic catechism and my Catholic upbringing was that astrology was meaningful, but then there was the fall of man, and nature fell as well. So the stars fell, the plants fell. That's why we have thorns and poison ivy. Everything fell with the fall of man. And so the stars did have legitimacy and accuracy before that in the scientific realm, but after the fall of man, then they became warped.
Okay, this is my very first time ever hearing this, and my initial reaction is that doesn't line up biblically because there
was the Star of Bethlehem.
Well, it's not just that. People read reading the stars is pretty common through Scripture and
in Revelation or the Apocalypse, right? The woman crowned with 12 stars, with the moon under her feet, right?
But I mean, certainly in the Nativity story, the stars are
absolutely
key.
Yeah, and they were. However, I think astrology is a certain perversion of the truth. Sort of like Ouija boards or people who seek fortune tellers, that kind of thing. Palm readers.
Oh no, because engaging with the Ouija board is literally engaging with the spiritual realm.
Don't do that.
Yeah, don't. It's really evil.
Don't do that.
Listen to the Exorcist files if you want to be terrified of Ouija boards. Okay, so Ouija boards is literally opening yourself up to the spiritual realm, as is palm readers and things like this.
Morbid curiosity. No.
But astrology is a naturally occurring thing.
Astronomy.
Okay,
is a naturally occurring scientific phenomenon. But astrology ascribes very vague conclusions from the stars. And so
but it's not inherently spiritual. It's still based on astronomy.
No, it's more natural for sure.
So it's different than a Ouija board. You can't get possessed by a demon by using astrology.
Probably not. Good night. The Ouija board is something to be avoided at all costs, and as well as any kind of books or witchcraft or Wiccan content. Absolutely avoid it. It's nothing good can come of that. However, with astrology, it is just so darn vague that you can almost ascribe, you can draw conclusions from the content because it is so vague. For example, I'm a Leo, right? I'm a Leo sun, Libra moon, Capricorn rising. Okay? I know
more about this than I do.
No, I know this. And
sounds really great. Capricorn rising sounds lovely.
I mean, Jesus was a Capricorn.
Was he?
Yeah.
Oh, because of when he was born.
Right, because of when he was born. And I think this is the problem where there's some truth. There's some truth to it, okay? Mm-hmm. So Leo moon would indicate that I'm more extroverted, that I'm more like a lion, right? Powerful leadership, whatever. Libra moon is, well, then I bring balance. Libra is the scales, right? I bring balance to some kind of force in my life. And then a Capricorn rising has this creativity, this foresight. Okay? I could say that to anybody and they'd be like, yeah, that's me.
I don't know. What would you say about a Sagittarius?
I'm not sure. I haven't looked into it as much because I'm not that.
You're like, I don't know.
But if someone told me, oh, you're a Gemini, like you have these two sides to you and you're probably like gluten intolerant.
You're probably gluten
and like,
intolerant.
oh, there's these two sides and like sometimes you like this and sometimes you like that. And you need to really be careful. I'd be like, yeah. Yep.
Totally. I am
That's
gluten
right.
intolerant. Fred disagrees
No,
with
that's
me.
right. Oh. I think astrology is misleading. I don't think there's any foundation in Catholicism whatsoever. I think it's distracting at best.
Okay, so this is I know nothing about astrology, and I've always avoided it because Protestant way is to be afraid of anything that you're unsure about. But I do wonder, like, because there is so much about, like, I think there are a lot of things in the Bible that are really mysterious, like dreams and prophecy and the stars, like, obviously play a role.
Yeah.
All these things, and I feel like often in the Christian world we don't assign enough biblical credit to things. Like, what is the difference between astronomy and astrology? Like, back in when Jesus was born, they would have been one and the same, you know? So, like, why is it so different now?
I think it's so different now because people are desperate to separate God from science. And if you study science from a Catholic perspective, you will realize that they agree entirely. And it's wonderful.
Well,
But
don't
people
you think...
are desperate to come from this atheist perspective that science and God can't agree. Okay, well, if science is true, then God can't be true. But God cannot contradict himself. And so in the creation of the world, even the creation story, plants absolutely have to exist before animal life, for example.
So could people not find God through astronomy?
I think they can. I think God uses all things. He draws all things to himself. And astronomy, in fact, is one of my favorite ways to come to God when I contemplate the stars. And actually, when I was in the monastery, Mother let me bring this huge book into the chapel with me. And it was a book of astronomy. It was a book of the stars.
Could you see a lot of stars from where you were?
I could. Out of our cell window, I saw Orion, which is my favorite constellation. And I knew that there was a nebula in between, like, so obviously Orion's belt is the three stars, especially, it's like autumn and winter stars, which are my favorite.
Well, in North America, you were in France though, but in North America you can see the best constellations.
In the northern hemisphere.
Yeah.
We were still in the northern hemisphere. So I saw the belt of Orion.
The best constellations are in fall and winter.
And then below the belt of Orion, I knew there was a nebula there. And the bottom right-hand star was very, very, very bright indeed. And just distant from that was the star called, I forget the name, but it's the brightest star in the night. And so when I would wake up for matins at Sirius, yes. So I could see that from our cell. And I would wake up at 4:50 in the morning and I would open our window and I would look at the constellation Orion and the Sirius star, which is a supergiant. And I would wonder at the creation of God, and it made me so happy. And so for me, astronomy absolutely was a way to go to God and to think of the magnificence of the creation of the stars and how many light years is just the Milky Way versus the whole galaxy or the whole universe, which is continuously expanding. To me, creation is my connection to God. And maybe that's a really introverted thing, right? It's not like relational. It's more, I don't know, just thinking about creation and appreciating it and wondering at the magnificence of it.
No, I would actually agree with that. I mean, so I grew up on an alpaca ranch in the country.
A what ranch?
Alpaca.
What?
Jane's hearing this for the first time.
Yes, I am. I didn't know this. Aren't alpacas like softer than llamas and less aggressive?
Oh, yes, thank you. So many people are like, are they like llamas? I'm like, no, they're not like llamas.
They're less
smaller,
aggressive.
they're cuter.
They're
Llamas
softer.
make excellent guard animals. Alpacas they're a cousin of llamas. Their fleece is much higher quality. So like the micron count of the fiber, which measures how thick it is very, very small. It's almost as thin as like a rabbit. So like a human hair micron count is like over 100, and alpaca micron count is like 19, 20. Like it's very, very soft.
Wow, okay.
But they're hollow. Each individual fiber is hollow, so it's super breathable. It's not as greasy as wool. They're really, really incredible.
Look at the magnificence of God, even down to the fiber.
I know. Really, alpacas are, anyway, they're really great. So I grew up on an alpaca ranch, and so I could see a lot of stars. And so my sister and I would, all the time, like pretty much every night that was nice, we would walk outside and we would lay out on the hill and we would just stare at the stars. And so I have a deep affection for astronomy. We had a telescope growing up, and we would always it was a big part of my life. And it's actually one of the things that now we live very much in the city. We're very urban. And I love being in the city. I love living an urban life, but sometimes I have guilt because I'm like, my kid's seen a shooting star, have they seen the planets? And but I would say one of the most impactful ways I've encountered Christ is through looking at the stars. And it's funny because
for me too.
My oldest he's very sciencey minded, and I bought a telescope recently, and I found my love language is giving gifts. I love giving gifts. He's not interested in gifts, and he's not interested in stuff, and I've never found a gift.
I didn't know this about you, Anna. Gifts.
I'm such a gifts person. But so Athan, my oldest son, he's named after St. Athanasius, but he's not a gift person. So every birthday, every Christmas, everything, I try and buy him gifts, and he's just like, oh, thanks. It's awful. He's just like my husband. Anyway, but I bought him this telescope, and I brought him outside, and I found Jupiter. And I showed him, and he looked through the lens, and I said, look, it's Jupiter. And it was he literally jumped up and down. He's like, I'm looking at Jupiter. I see Jupiter. And it was so satisfying. I was like, I finally found what he loved.
And did Jupiter look white?
Yeah, it was really, so our telescope is tricky. This was one of my regrets. When you're looking at things and you're like, do I need the more expensive version? Do I need the less expensive version? I want the less expensive version. So it was really hard to keep it dialed in, but he got to see it. And then we watched the Artemis 2, all the stuff recently, which was so cool and just absolutely incredible. So it's interesting because I see relating to him, it brings me back to all the childhood moments of looking at the stars a lot. And
I'm curious for our listeners too, what was one of the first childhood memories of wonder that they had?
That's a great question.
What made you pause? What made you think about God, or think about how very small you are, or the detail of something in creation that made you wonder and open your mind?
Yeah, it's interesting because I grew up in Colorado, so natural beauty was everywhere. And I really just totally took it for granted. I grew up going to Pikes Peak, I grew up going to Estes Park, all these things Rocky Mountain National Park, and it was always beautiful and it was fun, but it didn't stop me in my tracks the way the stars did.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. So maybe, to me I'm thinking, okay, that's really the way God spoke to you. No, it's not something that is familiar to you. I'm going to speak to you through the stars, and I'm going to bring you to me through the stars. I read in a book, I don't remember which book, but it was that souls are so unique that God has a unique design, a unique way to call each soul in creation to him. So, I don't know, I'm thinking to myself, maybe that was one of the ways that God called you, was not through Colorado, right, which may have called many other souls, right, the beauty of the mountains, the smell of the Colorado air, but through the stars. Yeah, and how beautiful it is to embrace that and to realize I'm called to wonder in this moment, and God is working in my soul.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's wonderful. That's really cool. And then in the future, you bought your child a telescope, and you're able to talk about these things.
I know. You know, it's funny though, I signed up for an astronomy class in college, and literally I went to the first class and he told us all the projects we were going to do, and I was like, oh yeah, I can't do this anymore. I like dropped it instantly. No. It was so high maintenance. I was like, part of it is I'm not a night person. I'm actually like, I go to bed at like 9:30. I'm like early to bed, early to rise, 100%. And so part of it was like, you have to stay up late to do all these projects, and I was like, yeah, this is not going to work.
Oh, that's so funny. You know, I'm envious that you had the opportunity to take an astronomy class. I was pre-med in my undergrad, and so
it's because I was aimless. I was like, I don't know, I need a class.
And the extra time I had was chemistry period. Like, I would love to have taken astronomy, but I always had some kind of chemistry requirement.
I know.
Yeah, astronomy it's so wonderful. There's no end to the wonder of astronomy, and that was what the philosophers built philosophy on, right? Even the word philosophy means the love of what is. Isn't it the love of wonder, or the love of what is eternal?
I don't know.
Philosophia, right? The love of
wisdom.
What is
Sophia means wisdom.
The love of wisdom, yeah. And so wonder is a huge part of that.
Mm-hmm.
Not curiosity. Wonder and curiosity are different. Wonder is more open. Curiosity is more goal-directed, if I understand correctly.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, we've gotten way off topic, because we started with, can a personality change? And now we're talking about astronomy and astrology. Okay, so we're going to... I think we should come back to, does a personality change courses?
I would say no, because if I may, a personality trait versus a personality state is completely different. Personality traits they're generated from birth. So you can see even in a very young child, even in an infant, they're wide-eyed, they wonder, they're maybe more extroverted, and that's something that will carry them throughout their whole life. But a trait versus a state is something that's transient. So you can have a state of depression, a state of emergency, and we can adapt and we can bring about different personality traits to support what is needed in that moment. But truly, our personality traits last throughout our whole life. And it's up to us to know ourselves and to find out how we can be most virtuous based on those personality traits.
Okay, I kind of disagree with this, and we are going to follow this up next episode. So stay tuned, and we're coming back, and we're going to talk about personality states, personality traits, and can your personality change?
Perfect. Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you for watching The Catholic Every Woman. We'll see you next time.
St. Carlo Acutis.
Pray for us.